thinking, feeling, sensing. It's important to still hold on to the feeling and the sensing part of it and not just go into the logical part of it. And that's the reason why that's the need for us to kind of balance HR decision making through analytics alone versus continuing with some of the empathy conversations that are so critical for people development.
Absolutely, Sujatha. Thanks so much.
Is the core tension that we have between data-driven decision making and the true essence of what HR does, which is being aligned with people, right? So given that, I think it's an exciting journey ahead, definitely, when we're talking about bringing in AI and automation and all the technology and anything new that's going to come into the market as well and into our lives. However, HR analytics, while it is powerful, it's not the entire story. So there's a lot more of human emotions, empathy, and values that probably we need to bring in. And I'm just going to share some perspectives around, while there are some steps that have been taken to embrace HR analytics in the space of, recruitment, or in making sure that the help desk management of the HR functions are more effective. You still have to look at how are we comprehending the use of HR analytics when we are engaging people. There's a lot of effort that's gone in there, but how are we engaging people? What happens when we're talking about a leadership pipeline, right? How are we looking at some of the extreme cases? I come from a background of design thinking, and I tend to bring in a little bit of extreme design. And we're talking about an inclusive ecosystem. And if we have to build an inclusive ecosystem, we have to bring in the elements of extreme design out here. And when we're talking about extreme design, data typically gives you patterns, and the patterns are drawn from a bulk of information that gets into the data lakes. And in the data lakes, we may not really be having too much of the outlier data that comes in. And in extreme design, it's important for us to bring in some of these outliers. And the outliers typically would hinge around emotions, things that people are going through, right? If I give you an example of people in an organization, or some people in an organization who might be taking care or might be caregivers in their families, where there is somebody who's going through a critical, illness, right? They go ahead and compete with their peer group in the organization when they deliver the tasks, but they may not be willing to share the kind of effort and the anxiety and the difficulty that they're going through in managing as a caregiver for a critical patient, critical illness patient. So we'll have to consider that. And there are some of these elements, and we can look at other things. We have women who are going through menopausal changes. We have people, young mothers who've just come out of, a delivery, but who might have had a lot of challenges. Not everything gets captured in the data. Right? Again, it depends on the culture of the organization, but not everything can get captured in the data. And as an executive life coach, leadership coach, I know that, and as a pro bono coach, I have a lot of individuals who I coach, and when they come back from various other organizations, and then we get to hear that they're not talking about this within the organizations for various reasons. So that means there's a lot of data that is not captured. So when we're talking about people engagement in the organization, and if patterns are drawn from performances of individuals, just depending on what has been reported, there's a lot of information that is unsaid. And then how are we going to capture that information so that individuals and the different challenges that they're going through is also inclusive, right? So, and we're talking about very diverse backgrounds. We're talking about a generation today which may not be expressing everything in the ecosystem, the work set up. And we are sensing that it could be because of various reasons. It could be, the generation itself, or it could be the culture of the organization. So taking into consideration all these aspects, the data lakes that are put together in organizations need to take into consideration this kind of information. Otherwise, it might just have part of the information which gets captured when they are drawing insights and taking very important decisions for the journey of an individual, where some of these don't get captured. So I think it's important to have a beautiful blend. When we're talking about data, we have explicit knowledge, we have implicit knowledge. There's a lot of implicit knowledge that is not captured. And that's the journey of making sure that AI and automation captures all of it. I think we have some ground to cover out there. And in sentient organizations, you're looking at feeling, sensing. It's important to still hold on to the feeling and the sensing part of it, and not just go into the logical part of it. And that's the reason why that's the need for us to kind of balance HR decision making through analytics alone versus continuing with some of the empathy conversations that are so critical for people with life.